interesting stories. So, I always loved cameras ever since I was a little kid. I remember going into like thrift stores and they had the really old cameras in there, and I would always ask my dad if I could get one, and he never let me. So I remember he bought me a video camera and I would take it everywhere. It was a really old one. It had like a tape that you put in it and the video would record on the tape. So I would take it everywhere with me. It was like this big and had like a little strap that went around your hand and like the little eyepiece that you look into to film and a flip out screen. And I loved that thing. And I remember just making videos with my friends or taking it to like my brother's like football practice stuff, and I would just like film everything, and it was a lot of fun for me. And so then I had my first digital camera. I remember I think I was like 14 and I got like a little blue digital camera, and I took that thing with me everywhere because I wasn't allowed to have a phone, an iPhone or anything. My parents were very strict, and so I took this blue camera everywhere, and I would take pictures of like my friends or my family, or like try to be like a photographer, you know, and I would take videos and all that kind of stuff. So it was kind of like how people like film videos like for Snapchat and stuff. I basically did that with my little digital camera. And then at the end of the day, I would go through my camera and I would look at all the pictures I took and like watch the videos and stuff. And it's pretty funny. And me and my siblings, we did this thing. Oh my god, it's so embarrassing. But we used to have creeper photo shoots where we would like do really creepy like poses, and we'd be like in public places. I'll literally have to go through like my SD card and show you guys for a video one day. Like, it's really embarrassing. I can't even explain it. Like, you just have to see it. Like, creeper photo shoots. It was a thing. And so anyway, fast forward to high school. I had saved up some money at this point, and my friend Nisha, she was like really into photography, and she had like a nice DSLR camera with like different lenses, and I thought it was so cool. And so I saved up and I bought a camera, and I wanted to start taking pictures and going on photo shoots and stuff. So I bought this camera, and I think it was about $300. It was a Nikon D3200, I remember, and I bought one lens, just the kit lens. It's like the cheapest and the worst quality. And so I remember my dad went through my Amazon account on the computer because, like I said, I didn't have a phone or anything, so I had to use like the family computer to buy stuff. And so he went on my Amazon account, saw that I bought a $300 camera, and he got mad at me and he told me to return it and that it was a waste of money. And I was like, bruh, it's literally my hard-earned money. I think when I got this camera, I was working at this like rich guy's house pulling weeds. He had this giant yard, and I would just pull weeds all day with my friend. And so I basically had to beg him, like, no, like, this is my camera, like, I'm not gonna return it, whatever. They were very controlling, and very like weird about money stuff. There's other stories I could tell you, but let's just stay on track. And so I ended up keeping the camera, and I started going on little photo shoots with like few paid photo shoots for only like $35, which is so cheap. I didn't have Photoshop or anything like that. And so I remember I took a photography class, and my teacher told me I was really talented, and she was like a really good photographer. And so that made me feel really good about my skills, I guess. I think you kind of have to have like an artistic eye when it comes to photography. I don't think you can really train someone that much, which is why I don't agree with people go to school for photography. I don't really get it, because you can't really train an eye. Like, you can learn all the ways that the camera works and the settings and how to shoot manually in different lenses, but if you don't have a good eye, the pictures just won't turn out, you know what I mean? And I've always been a creative person. I've always loved art and things like that, and I was just finally happy to be doing something that I loved, and like I finally found a hobby that I liked. Anyway, I will tell you about the worst client I've had. I've had a couple bad ones, but I had a friend. His name was Mitch. And I remember he asked me, "Oh, can you do my wedding photos?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm down." He's like, "Okay, perfect." So, he's Mormon. They were like a Mormon couple. So I went to the Salt Lake City temple, and my sister came with me for moral support because doing that is scary. And this is the first wedding I had ever done. I hate weddings, okay? Weddings are actually the worst. There's so many people yelling at you, telling you what to do, so many like relatives. There's kids that aren't paying attention. If you're trying to take a big group photo, it's hard to get a good shot. And I'm a quiet person. I whisper on the internet. I don't like yelling and telling big groups of people what to do. Like, that is so difficult for me. So anyway, I do their wedding pictures at the temple, and it was a struggle. The time of day was not good lighting. The lens I had was a 50mm, which basically means that it doesn't zoom. So to get everyone in one picture, I had to be super far back, and it was just a struggle. And there's like grandmas and aunts yelling at me, "Oh, did you get the spires in the background? Did you get this in the background?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I got it." I was just like, "Yep, got it," even though I couldn't. So anyway, after that, we had the wedding reception where it rained. It was an outdoor one, and it rained, and so they moved everything inside, and I believe I was like 5 minutes late, and Mitch comes up to me and goes, "Thanks for being here on time," and he like pats me on the shoulder and walks away, and I was like, I remember my sister was still with me, and like we looked at each other like, was it really that big of a deal that I was here 5 minutes late? Okay. And so I do that reception, and then like a week later, they're like, "Oh, we have one more reception that we're doing at the bride's house in a different city," and I was like, "Okay, great." So, whatever. And I think I only charged them $500, which is really cheap for a wedding. Oh, and I also did their engagements up in the mountains, like before all this, before the wedding and everything, so there's another photo shoot. Anyway, I go to the second reception. It was in a backyard, and it was cute, and there wasn't that many people there. My friend Christina came with me, and it was like chill, whatever. Anyway, after that, I go home, and so I literally had to send all of them to my phone, edit them in Photoshop Express, which is not the best app, but I still got them to look pretty nice. One of the wedding photos is still up on my photography Instagram, and so I worked on those for a couple days, and I put them in Google Drive, and I sent them. And he was my friend, so I thought, and I texted him and I go, hey, I just sent those photos. You can send the money to my Venmo or like whatever works for you. And he's like, oh, alright. And I think he texted me and goes, hey, we actually want to go back to the temple and we want to do another photo shoot and just get a few more pictures, and we'll pay you after that. And I was like, oh my god, okay, fine. Like, this is the longest photo shoot. Like, these clients have been in my life for months now, and I'm like over it. So I was like, okay, fine, this is it. This is the last photo shoot we're gonna do. And I was like, yeah, what day do you want to do the photo shoot? Guess what, guys? I never heard from him again. So we got all these free photos. He never paid me, and that was the day that I learned you need to have them send you the money before you send the pictures, because people will screw you over. People will just take the money or take the photos and never contact you again. And I still haven't talked to him. He's not my friend anymore. And that was just a terrible experience. Like, hours of work went into that, and I got nothing out of it. Like, absolutely nothing. And so that really sucked. Next, I went on a photo shoot with this girl that my friend referred me to or whatever, and she wanted her senior pictures done, and I was like, okay, cool. So we meet up at a high school, and we end up driving into the mountains together, and she seemed like pretty nice and cool and whatever, and we get up to the spot where we want to take pictures, and I could tell right off the bat that this girl is like very uncomfortable in front of the camera. She was literally just standing there like this, like her shoulders were like all tense, and her hands were just by her side. She was just like, and I was trying really hard to tell her like how to pose, like give her different ideas, because you get the best pictures when your model is constantly moving. And I've heard different models tell me that modeling really is just about like touching yourself in different ways, constantly moving. That's how you get the best pictures. And so she never really got comfortable, and we were there for probably an hour and a half, and the pictures were just awkward. They all looked the same of her, and she wouldn't like listen to me, and it was just not a good photo shoot. I wasn't proud of it, and it was really uncomfortable, and it gave me anxiety to go on shoots after that, because I was scared that people wouldn't like listen to me or pose how I want them to, and so that wasn't fun. Let's see, you guys probably already heard the one, the Tinder date story. I just posted that video a couple days ago, where this guy on Tinder basically told me, oh, my date idea is that you bring your camera and you take pictures of me. And that was basically our date, and it was like so terrible. So there was that one, and oh my god. And I also, this is funny, so two of my worst clients, I will say, are my two straight up, I did not edit a single one of those photos, and they did not look that great, and I'm sorry, like, you get what you pay for. I don't care if you're my step siblings, like, you should not expect free photos. If you want them to be good quality, pay for them. 100%. And like, I did an okay job. They weren't like terrible, but they definitely could have been better, and I didn't edit them. But it was like soft lighting outside, so the colors were, and the lighting was nice. Okay, so that's the tea on that one. Okay, this one happened it's probably close to a year ago now. My friend Christina, she was like, we would go on photo shoots literally all the time, and she got very into like modeling and stuff. And, you know, she was good at it. She knows how to pose herself and all that. And she got into photography, and she's like doing very well now, which I think is awesome. Like, she just went after it, and she is like constantly going on photo shoots. Like, she does super well. And we basically did a wedding together, and I talked about this once in another video, but basically me and Christina were talking to some guy at the wedding, and Christina brought up that I was a YouTuber, and like, she's like, oh, and he has like this many followers. I probably only had like 30k or 20k or something. And this guy was like, oh, that's so cool, whatever. And then he like left, and he comes back with his sister, and she started like cussing at me. She was like, why the F are you famous? Why the F are you a YouTuber? And blah, blah, blah. What's so special about you? And I was like, what? I was like, bitch. First of all, I whisper. I put people to sleep. People like my voice, period. I didn't say that though, but I was like, I just can't deal with people like that. It just really freaking pisses me off. Like, I'm not famous at all. A few thousand followers does not make you famous at all. I guess you can be kind of like mildly YouTube famous, but it was just so weird. She was so like attacked. She was like, I felt attacked. And it was like so awkward. Like, I don't know this girl. Why is she so like upset? Or maybe she was jealous. Maybe she wanted followers. I don't know. It was just the weirdest reaction I've ever gotten. And then there was one other time I was at this place called Zuba's with my friend Nisha. We were in line, and there were these two girls behind us. Sorry, my throat's making weird noises. And Nisha goes, oh, those girls are in my like dental class. And I was like, oh, cool. And so they start talking, and they're like, is that your boyfriend? Blah, blah, blah. Is he single? Whatever. And I guess somehow it came up. She like told them that I do YouTube. Oh yeah, she was like, introduced me. And she was like, this is Tyson. He does YouTube. He does like ASMR. And they were just like, ew, why? They're like, one of my friends sent me an ASMR video of someone like licking a microphone. It was like the grossest thing I'd ever seen, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, this is terrible. And I'm too grown to deal with these like stupid kids. I like when people react this way. It reminds me of like high school kids. I'm sorry, it just does. I'm like, I respect whatever people do with their time. I will never like judge someone based off anything they do. And so when people react like that, I'm just like, I do not want to talk to you. So yeah, I basically just turned around and I just walked away. I didn't want to talk to them. I didn't want to be around them. Like the fact that they're just gonna like shit on something that I care so much about, that I work so hard on, that maybe they don't understand, but like there's people that actually benefit from it, and it adds so much like value value to my life. It just pissed me off. Anyway, we're a little bit off track, but those are some photography stories, and now that I live in Arizona, I'm trying to collab with some of the photographers and models in the area, but I have social anxiety, and it kind of controls me, but I'm trying not to let it. Meeting up with strangers and things like that is so difficult for me. Anyway, we'll see what happens. I'm gonna do my best. Just gotta work hard, I guess. Fight off the anxiety if you can. And yeah, anyway, thank you so much for joining me tonight. I hope you guys are doing well. Don't let the bastards get you down. That was a Kesha reference, if you don't know. Alright, sleep well, guys. I'll see you on the next one.